Picture yourself standing in an elevator. What's the first thing you do? Chances are you look at the mirror. You check your hair, you fix your collar, or you just stare at your own reflection to avoid awkward eye contact with a stranger. Most of us assume those mirrors are there for our vanity, a courtesy from the building so we can look our best. But the truth is much more calculated and a little bit darker. If those mirrors weren't there, the entire modern skyscraper industry might have collapsed decades ago. So why did engineers decide to turn a transportation machine into a dressing room? Is it about style, or is it a psychological trick designed to manipulate your sense of time? Today, we're uncovering the hidden history of the elevator mirror. To understand this, we have to look back at the early 20th century. This was the era of the vertical revolution. Cities like New York and Chicago were moving upward, but there was a massive bottleneck: the technology of the time. Early elevators were slow, extremely slow. As buildings got taller, people were spending minutes at a time suspended in mid-air in a dark, clanking metal cage. As the pace of the world sped up, the complaints started pouring in. Building managers were being sued, and tenants were threatening to leave because they felt they were wasting hours of their lives just waiting to get to their offices. The engineers were under massive pressure. They tried to make the motors faster, but the physics at the time made it nearly impossible to increase speed without making the ride terrifyingly jerky or dangerously unstable. They reached a mechanical dead end. This is where the story takes a turn from engineering to psychology. A group of researchers was hired to solve the speed problem, but instead of looking at the cables and the motors, they looked at the passengers. They discovered something fascinating. The passengers' perception of time was the real enemy. In a windowless, cramped box with nothing to do, the human brain enters a state of hyper-awareness. Every second feels like 3. Without a distraction, the brain focuses on 2 things: how long the trip is taking and the fear of the elevator falling. The solution wasn't to make the elevator faster, it was to give the brain a job. They installed mirrors. Suddenly, the complaints vanished. People weren't focused on the speed anymore because they were busy looking at the most interesting thing in the world: themselves. By providing a distraction, engineers hacked the human brain to make time move faster. But the mirrors do more than just kill time. They solve a deep-seated biological fear. Human beings are naturally claustrophobic to some degree. Being trapped in a small enclosed space triggers a fight or flight response in the nervous system. When you add a mirror to an elevator, you are using an optical illusion to trick the vestibular system. The reflection creates an artificial sense of depth, making the cab appear twice as large as it actually is. This visual openness lowers the heart rate of the passengers and prevents the feeling of being buried alive in a metal box. Furthermore, there's a safety aspect you've probably never noticed. In a crowded elevator, you are physically vulnerable. You can't see who is behind you or what they're doing with their hands. The mirror provides a 360-degree field of vision. It allows you to monitor your surroundings without being confrontational, giving you a subconscious sense of security in a high-density environment. There is one more reason for these mirrors that is purely functional, and it's a lifesaver for many. For people in wheelchairs, elevators can be a nightmare. Most standard elevators are not wide enough to allow a wheelchair to perform a full 180-degree turn. Without a mirror, a person in a wheelchair would have to back out of the elevator blindly, risking hitting other people or getting their wheels caught in the door gap. The mirrors act as a rear-view camera. By looking at the reflection, they can see exactly where the floor numbers are and when the doors behind them are clear. What looks like a tool for vanity is actually a critical piece of accessibility infrastructure. So, the next time you step into an elevator and find yourself checking your teeth or adjusting your tie, don't feel vain. You are actually playing your part in a century-old psychological experiment. The mirror is there to keep you calm, to keep you safe, and most importantly, to keep you distracted from the fact that you're hanging by a cable hundreds of feet in the air. It's a simple solution to a complex human problem. If you'll never look at an elevator the same way again, hit that like button and subscribe for more surprising stories behind the everyday world. Thanks for watching.
Please subscribe, whatever.